بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back, my dear students, in today's English lesson. But what are we going to do in this lesson? So, this lesson is going to be Enrichment's lesson, the first one. So here, we are done with Unit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's why we're having enrichments. So, but before we go to the enrichments lesson, let's take a look at the previous homework. What were you asked to do and what did you do about it? So you were asked to complete the following sentences with different answers. At the beginning of the sentences, you had the same thing, but I want different answers to complete the same 3 sentences. So here we have I'm too busy, and then you can complete it with 3 things or 3 sentences for pastime activities that you can do. So here the first one, I'm too busy to what? I'm too busy to watch TV. Here, watch TV, it's a pastime activity that I'm too busy to do. The second one here, I'm too busy to play a video game. I'm too busy to play a video game. So also playing a video game, it's a pastime activity. Now, and the last one here, I'm too busy to hang out with my friends. I'm too busy to hang out with my friends. So all of these are pastime activities from Unit 4. Do you remember that? Now, let's take a look at this today's lesson. What are you going to do? By the end of this lesson, you will be able to ask for directions, ask and describe jobs, and use would like for preferences. So let's take a look here. I want you to take a look at these 2 pictures. What can you see in these pictures? I can see the beach and the shore. I can see some luggage, right? Or suitcases. Now, if I want to go on a vacation, what should I do? So, what are the steps that I should follow if I want to go on a vacation? If you know, there's something you have to do. But if you don't know, there's also a thing to do. Let's take a look. So, to plan a trip, you must choose the location, choose a hotel to stay, and the places that I will visit or you will visit in the country. So if you're going for a vacation, you can choose any location you want. Now, if you're going to a different country, that means you have to find a hotel to stay in, right? Then you have to research for the hotels over there. And if you're going to a certain place, why not search for the places, the famous places or the popular places in this country so you can visit in your vacation? Now, if I know how to organize the trip, I can do 2 things. I can go online myself, I can buy the ticket, book the hotel, and plan for the transportation between the places I want to visit. And so if I know it and I already can do all of these things, I can start with it, right? But if I'm not sure and I want to make sure, I can find a how to organize your trip video. How to organize a trip by yourself video. That means in the video, the how-to video, you will see the steps that you should follow to buy the ticket, book the hotel, and plan for your transportation. So this is in the case if you know if you can do it by yourself. But if you don't know how to organize the trip, what are you going to do? You can go to a traveling agency. A traveling agency is a place, right? We talked about it in Unit 3. A traveling agency. And you can sit with the travel agent. The travel agent. So, the travel agent, it's a name of a job. So, the travel agent, where does he work? The travel agent works in the travel agency. If you don't know how to plan your trip, you can sit with the travel agent and the travel agent will do these 3 steps for you. He's going to buy the ticket for you and book the hotels and plan your transportations for this trip. So if you know how to do it, you can do it yourself. But if you don't know, you can go to the travel agent. The job is the travel agent. Now, let's take a look at this example for a man, his name is Omar, who went to a hotel. So what did Omar do in the hotel? And how did he check in the hotel? Do you remember we talked about it in Unit 1? So let's take a look. So the receptionist, who's the receptionist? This is also a job. The receptionist is the person who's working in the reception, who's helping the guests to check in the hotel. Now, let's take a look at the conversation between the receptionist and Omar. The receptionist said, "Hi, my name is Tom. How may I help you?" Omar said, "I have a reservation." The receptionist, "What's your name?" Omar, "My name is Omar." The receptionist, "How do you spell your name?" Omar, O-M-A-R. The receptionist, "Are you here for work?" There's a question. This is a question. Omar said, "No, I am here for a vacation." The receptionist, "I found your room. It's room number 217 in the second floor. Here is your key. Enjoy your stay." So, what is the conversation? What did we see here in the conversation between the receptionist and Omar? What did the receptionist do? So the receptionist took the information of Omar, he took the spelling of his name, then he found the reservation of Omar and gave him the key for the room he booked. Now, let's take a look at this question here. Are you here for work? Are you here for work? The receptionist is trying to make a conversation with Omar while he's doing his job so he can buy some time, or he can entertain this Omar while he's waiting for the keys. So now let's take a look. So he said, "I found your room and here's your key." But what's the detail of the room? It's room number 217 in the second floor. Where's the location of this room? It's in the second floor. Now, let's take a look here. So, what can you see in the picture? This is a lobby of a hotel. What can you see in the lobby? Can you see the fountain? So, there's a big fountain in the middle of the lobby of the hotel. Now, let's take a look. How to ask for the location of the restaurant in the hotel. How can you ask for the location? So what are you going to say? So you might say, "Excuse me, where is the restaurant?" Here we have the WH word. Where is the restaurant? I want the direction or the location. I'm asking for the place of the restaurant. But, so we're using the word "excuse me" for what? I don't know the person's name. So that's why I'm saying, "Excuse me, may I ask you this question? Where is the restaurant?" So the hotel worker can reply like this. "It's on the left after the fountain." So on the left after the fountain. These are the directions of the restaurant. Do you remember when we talked about directions in the second unit? So on the left after the fountain, that means it's going to be this part. Now, let's take a look here. So, something happened to Omar in the hotel. So he saw something and he wants, let's take a look at the conversation between Omar and the person he saw. So, when Omar was in the hotel, he saw a group of writers. One of the writers asked him. The writer said, "Are you here for the Writers' Festival?" Omar said, "No, I'm here for a vacation." "But what's the Writers' Festival?" The writer said, "It's an annual festival for writers." Omar said, "What does a writer do?" The writer said, "A writer writes articles for newspapers and magazines. Writers can also write books. They know how to write interesting things." Now, this is a really nice conversation between Omar and the writer. Now, let's take a look at the first part here. So the writer asked Omar a yes-no question. "Are you here for the Writers' Festival?" Omar said, "No, I'm here for the vacation, but I'm curious. What is the Writers' Festival?" So he asked for more information about this Writers' Festival. So the writer said, "It's an annual festival for writers." What is the meaning of the word annual? Annual, it means every year. This festival happens every year. It's an annual festival for writers. But Omar asked about writers. So what does a writer do? The writer, it's a job. What is the description of this job? Do you remember when we talked about it in the third unit? So here, a writer writes. We have S here. Why do we have S? Because it's present simple. We add S to the verb. A writer writes articles for newspapers and magazines. So is it only writing articles for newspapers and magazines? Here the writer added more information. Writers can also write books. What is the skill that they have? What is this special skill that the writers have here? They know how to write interesting things. Now, do you remember when we talked about know how to? Know how to say a name of a skill. I know how to cook. This is a skill that I can do. I know how to do. I know how to cook. I know how to read French. It's a skill that I can do. Here, they know how to write interesting things. So what is the skill? Writing, not anything. Writing interesting things. So here, interesting, it's describing the kind of skill they have, the kind of writings they can write. Now, let's take a look. So here, in the trip, you can go to popular restaurants. Now, do you remember we said choose the location of the trip, and you can, after that, you can find popular places in the country that you're going to visit for your vacation. Now, let's take a look. In the trip, you can go to popular restaurants. How are you going to order? So, let's take a look at this conversation between the waiter and the customers sitting on the table.
What do you have on your menu?
We have different dishes, kinds of sandwiches with fries. We also have fresh juices and desserts.
So, we have different kinds of sandwiches, fries, dishes. Now, what kind of nouns are these? All of these are plural nouns. They have S at the end of these words. But the sound of the S is different. I want you to listen one more time to these words and take a look at the pronunciation. Listen to the way the ending of these words are pronounced. Is it only the S sound, Z sound, or Z sound? Listen one more time.
What do you have on your menu?
We have different dishes, kinds of sandwiches with fries. We also have fresh juices and desserts.
So now take a look at the pronunciation of desserts and juices. It's different, right? Both of them are plural, but different ending sounds. Desserts and juices. See? Now, we also have the word fries. What's the difference between the ending sound of fries and juices? It's like the end of the word juices, it's like is sound. But fries, it's a z sound. Now, let's take a look here. So, when you choose How are you going to tell the waiter what did you choose? What was your preference from their menu? So you can start with I would like to have, or I would like, and you can say I'll have, and you can tell the waiter the thing you chose from their menu. Now, let's take a look, let's listen to this conversation and the way the order is made.
What would you like to order?
Let me see. Do you have cheesecake?
Yeah, we do.
I'll have a piece of this cheesecake, please, and a cup of coffee.
Okay, sure.
So, I would like to have a piece of the cheesecake and a cup of coffee. So, piece of cheesecake and cup of coffee. In this audio, we heard to the specific quantities the customer wants. One piece of cheesecake and a cup of coffee. Now, let's take a look here at this question. So we have some words. We want to arrange these words and put it correctly together. So use the words to write an affirmative and a negative sentence. Affirmative is a sentence that's sure. Negative, it's the opposite of affirmative sentence. Now, let's take a look here. So we have Ahmed work in an office. So we're going to write the sentence correctly. Affirmative in this part and negative in the second part. Ahmed work in a restaurant. So looks like he's working in the office, but he's not working in the restaurant. What are we going to write? The sentences are going to look like this. Ahmed works. We have S. Why? Because Ahmed, the pronoun of Ahmed is he. For he, she, and it, we're adding S to the verb. And with the others, we're not adding anything to the verb. Ahmed works in an office. So this is something that we're sure of. Ahmed works in an office. But how about the negative sentence? Ahmed doesn't work in a restaurant. Ahmed doesn't work. Look at the verb here. Did we add S to the verb? We have the same word Ahmed, right? But because it's a negative form, we're adding the S to the word doesn't. Here we have the S in the word doesn't. That's why we're not going to add two S's here. We already have it once. Ahmed doesn't work in a restaurant. Now, this is an example. I want you to try to do the next one yourself. So here we have Patrick take the bus to school. We want this one to be affirmative. And what about the negative form? Patrick ride his bike to school. Now, how are we going to write the sentences? The first one is affirmative and the second one is negative. It's going to look like this. Patrick takes. We have S here after the verb take. Patrick takes the bus to school. This is the affirmative sentence. How about the negative sentence? Patrick doesn't ride his bike to school. He doesn't do that. Patrick doesn't ride his bike to school. Now, let's take a look at another example here. We have they. We don't have a name. We have they, the pronoun. They. Here we have they eat in a restaurant on Thursdays. And we have they eat at home on Thursdays. One is going to be affirmative and the second one is going to be negative. So what is the answer going to look like? It's going to look like this. They eat in a restaurant on Thursdays. Let's take a look at the word eat, the verb. Did we add S to the verb? No, we didn't add S to the verb because here we have they, the plural pronoun. For the plurals, we're not going to add S to the verb. We're only adding it to he, she, or it. Now, let's take a look at the second one, the negative form of the sentence. They don't eat at home for Thursdays. Here, instead of having the word doesn't, we have the word don't. Now, let's take a look at the next one. Here we have Matt and Alex play video games after school. We have the second one, the negative form is going to be Matt and Alex play football after school. So one activity is video games after school, and the second one it's football after school. Which one is the affirmative? The first one is going to be the affirmative, and the second one will be the negative. Here, let's take a look at the pronoun. Matt and Alex. So Matt and Alex, it's, instead of having the words Matt and Alex, we can have they. Now, let's take a look at the answers. Matt and Alex play video games after school. So here we have the word play. We did not add S to the verb play. Now, how about the negative form? Matt and Alex don't play football after school. Okay, now let's take a look at the next thing. What did we do in today's lesson? We asked for directions. Do you remember when you asked the directions of the restaurant? Excuse me, where's the restaurant? It's on the left after the fountain. So here we asked for directions. And we also asked and described jobs. Now, what does a writer do? A writer writes articles. And what about the travel agent? What does the travel agent do? The travel agent organizes the trip. How about the receptionist? We didn't see the description of the job, but we did understand from the context that the receptionist is helping the guests checking into the hotel. And we also used would like for preferences. What would you like to have from the menu? I would like to have a piece of the cheesecake and a cup of coffee. Not only I did choose from the menu, but I also did tell the waiter about a specific quantity that I want. A piece of cheesecake and a cup of coffee. Now, for your homework, what are you going to do? You're going to do the same thing here. You're going to use the words to write affirmative and a negative sentence. Here we have Hussein exercises at the gym. And the negative one is going to be Hussein exercise at home. Here we have different places, right? Now, what is the sentence, the affirmative sentence going to look like, and how is the negative sentence going to look like? We're going to check in the next lesson together. Thank you, my dear students, and I will see you in the next lesson.